All right, so I'm outside of a 2019 Honda Insight. This is the EX model, so this is going to be your middle model right above your base. I'll start you at the back and just show you the space in the trunk, because I know that's always a point of concern on hybrids. So you can actually see you've got a good amount of space in here. This is about the size of an Accord, and you will notice that you do have the locks you can throw down. You've got a 60-40 split over there, so you can throw those back seats down. Now, I will point out this. It does come with a tire repair kit. All my hybrids do, so just be aware of that if you're looking at one or you've bought one, that's how this works. And I believe they do that for weight purposes. So just be aware, you can buy a spare for the car, but you just have to throw it actually in the trunk. So hopping in the back seats, a lot like a Civic as far as your spacing goes. You can see it does have the black, or it's more of almost a charcoal finish to it. I've got the fold down seat there that I can do, or I can send it up if I want all 3 rows. And it's got a charcoal finish on the floorboards and then the dashes and everything, because that's always gonna be for glare. So, this car does have keyless entry, so I can walk up and just put my hand on the door handle. It'll automatically unlock for me. If I'm getting out of the car, I can put my fingers on this button right here and it'll lock for me. So that's how this works. You can detect that I have the key in my pocket right now and the car's on, so that's why it's beeping at me. So, hopping into the car. All right, so some things that you're gaining moving from the LX up to the EX. The first noticeable one is going to be the touchscreen. So you're going to notice that you have a nice big display here, an audio touchscreen that's going to have several different options that I'll go through here in a minute as far as different things like HD radio, things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So it's just going to have a lot more features than the base model would. You're also going to gain a secondary USB down here, so be aware that you're going to get that too. Other things you're going to get are going to be the camera off the right side, which is known as Honda Lane Watch. You can see I just toggled that on for you. So it's gonna be a lot of technology upgrades. You're also getting a push button start with keyless entry and remote start. So this car has remote start. I can start from inside the house. So that's what you're getting by moving up a model. So let's start you over on the left side and explain what's going on with the car. So the first thing I'm gonna show you is your windows. I've got regular powered windows on my driver and passenger side are auto, so I can set them up and down with one touch of the button. So that's how that works. My window locks are right here. LED means they're on. Door locks and then mirror settings left and right, and then I can adjust on the pad. Moving over here, you'll see my gas cap to pop it open. This is going to work with my traction control. It's called Vehicle Stability Assist. This is always on unless I turn it off. What this feature is in the event that I go into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction to help correct for a skid. Now this up here is going to toggle onto some of my Honda sensing stuff, so things like road departure mitigation, your collision mitigated braking system, which road departure mitigation, if I start to veer off the side of the road, it'll shake the wheel and alert me. And then collision mitigated braking works along. So what this is set up is it uses radar down in the grill. If it detects a car in front of me, it looks like I'm going to rear end them, it'll actually start to apply the brakes if I don't. So to help prevent accidents. So that's what's going on from here. My trips, as far as toggling through them, you can see right here. So that's what I'm toggling through right there in the center. And then adjusting the brightness on the screen up here, I can do this from right here. So that's what this button is. Now, you saw that camera come on. I can press this button to turn that camera on over here. So then that'll fire it on. Or the way the default setup is, if I hit my right blinker on, it fires that on for me. Now you can turn off the feature where the right blinker fires it on and just have where you press the button. So just be aware of that. While I'm over there on the blinker stalk, I'll show you do have auto on-off headlights too. You can set them up right there. So steering wheel. Let's start you on the left side. First thing I'm gonna point out is the home button. Home button is going to affect up here. So you can see the left side over here is actually digital. So I have all these different menus I can scroll through instead of just seeing like, hey, general kind of tachometer information. Because I find that most people don't really care what it says there. So I'm going to start you up here and just kind of show you some different things. If you just want the gauge, a plain setup, that would be what this is. Now, if you're looking to get Eco Drive, this will show you kind of how you're driving, how it's going to affect you positive, negatively. As far as gas mileage, that would be this screen. Now moving down Power Flow, this is for people who are like me that are curious. It'll show me, you'll actually see a line between there and there, showing whether it's in hybrid mode or if it's just in electric mode. So as you drive, it'll show you what you're driving in what mode. So it's just kind of cool. Range and fuel is just general tripometer information. Fuel economy, same thing, speed and time. Audio will show you whatever you're listening to. So I've got it on KGSR right now. Scrolling down, phone, this is just Bluetooth settings if I want to see, who called, things like that. Now moving down one more. This one's really cool. So traffic signs. Anytime you're driving down the road, it'll actually use the camera that's located in this box up here. Same one it uses for another feature I'll talk about in a second, which would be the lane keep assist. Now this, anytime it picks up a traffic sign, will tell you what the speed limit is on that road. So it's just super cool in that sense of, hey, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what the speed limit is in this tiny town. This will help me out with that. Driving support, this is just going to be related to Honda's sensing stuff as far as anything that you have on and moving. Driver attention monitor, this is just set up to where if I haven't touched the wheel or the pedals in a while, it's going to eventually start alerting me, be like, hey man, you awake? So hopefully you don't have the car trying to drive itself. Maintenance, if you just want your oil life on the car, right there. Safety support, this is related to the Honda sensing features as far as what you have on and different running. So you saw me, there's a couple different ways you could pull this up. And then general warnings. So that's what's going on from that side of the touchscreen. And I was using the home button, and then to scroll through, you scroll through so you can see the menu scrolling in the background, and to select one, I press down on this knob. So that's how this works. So, okay, we have an understanding of that. Volume controls, plus and minus are right here. Jumping between tracks, right here on the left and right. My back button, always important in case I get in the wrong menu, need to back out of something, so that's just what this is for. Now from here, my Bluetooth control. So to answer a phone call, to hang up, use voice command, say call so-and-so. This is also going to work with the smartphone capability. So this is going to be Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I can press and hold this till I hear the beep for Siri and ask Siri to do anything, or OK Google. So going to be an important function here in a minute. Moving to the right side. So this is related to your Honda sensing features. So if the main button is on, you're going to see ACC and LKS up on there. And it'll stay on. If I turn it on, the next time I get in the car, even if I turn it off, turn it back on, it will be on. Adaptive Cruise Control stands, or excuse me, ACC stands for Adaptive Cruise Control. LKAS stands for Lane Keep Assist. Lane Keep Assist is going to be related to this button right here. Whenever I turn this on, you're going to see some dotted lines appear. That means it's now using the camera up in this box, so right there, to detect the lines on the road. When that fills in solid, it means it's now reading the road. It's going to do that from 45 miles an hour to 90 miles an hour. Now, if your windshield wipers are on, it's going to turn this feature off because they want you to be focusing on the road. Or if I turn my blinker on, obviously this feature is going to deactivate because it's realizing I mean to leave my lane. What this is set up to do is if I start to drift out of my lane, it'll just naturally pull the wheel a little bit to the left or the right to help correct for me. It's something I can overpower if I want, but just be aware it's just there to help you. Now, adaptive cruise control. Once I get up to the speed I want to set, I would press set. From there, you'll see an icon of a car where it says ACC off. That means it's now detecting the car in front of you. And it's using radar in the grill and that camera that I just showed you. Now to set the distance that it keeps between me and that car in front of me is gonna be this button right here. When I press this, you're gonna see some boxes pop up. The more boxes, the more space between you and the car in front of you. So you can see I have 4 different settings. So that's what this is for. So that's how this function works. That's the same technology it uses for the collision mitigated braking system that I mentioned earlier, where it'll apply the brakes to prevent an accident. So same functions right there, right? So that's what's going on there. Now back behind the steering wheel, you notice there's paddle shifters to use for regenerative braking, which will increase the charge on the car so you can drive more in electric. So that's what these are for. Now, moving over to the touchscreen. So this is the general home button that you would see. This is the home screen that you would see. Now, if you want to adjust stuff and move stuff around, just be aware that you can do that. It's as simple as that. Move and drag stuff. And then when I'm done, I press done. So this is how this works. So simple, very easy to work with. It's a lot like a phone. Now, the settings that you're seeing up here, I can move around. I can have a plethora of different things up here. And then you can see I have some quick ads up here that I can adjust to. Now, from here, phone, this is going to be general Bluetooth info. If you haven't connected a phone, that's going to prompt you to add the first one. That's how you would do it. To add additional phones, how you would do it, you would go to settings, then connection, and then Bluetooth. And then from there, connect new device. It'll ask you to turn your Bluetooth on, and you'll prompt you through, and you'll connect your phone up. So that's how this works. Now, some other things in settings I want you to be aware of are going to be down here under vehicle. So this is where I can get to some of the things like my door setup, my lighting setup, walkaway auto locks, things like that. So door and window right here. If I want to set my doors, auto door lock, right now it's set up to where when I hit 10 miles an hour to automatically lock the doors. So that's how that function works. If I want to, let me jump back one menu. If I want to go to auto door unlock, right now it's set when I open my driver's side door, it'll unlock the remaining doors. So just different settings that I can play with are right here. I'm going to back out of this one more. And then I want to say, I think it's going to be under keyless access setup is what we want. And then door unlock mode. Okay, so this is for the key fobs. If I want it set up to where when I grab the door handle, it unlocks just the driver's side door or all the doors. So another feature that some people like if you got kids that like to run up to the car before you. So this is some different things here to keep an eye on as far as all that goes. So I just want you to be aware of these items, right? So keyless access setup is what I was just showing you right there. And then I'm going to scroll back down to door and window and go to walkaway auto lock. So this is a feature I really like. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here. Walkaway auto lock is set up to where if I get out of the car and I walk away and I get outside of 10 feet from the car, it can automatically lock the door if this is on. It only works if the key is in my pocket. It's not going to lock the keys in the car. But this is good for the guy who gets halfway into the grocery store and goes, crap, did I lock the doors? That's what this feature is for. So, how I got to that, I'll start you back from the very beginning. So we're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to Vehicle. And then from here is where you have access to all those things where you saw door and lighting and all of that. So from door and window, at the very bottom of the screen is where the walkaway auto lock is. And then to adjust the door locks is in here too. So, all right, that's some setting stuff just for you to play with. FM, pretty self-explanatory as far as the radio goes. It's a touchscreen, so once I scan and find the station that I want, I can press and hold and set that new station. So that's just how this works. So be aware, that's how this works from there. HD radio, this car does have it, so you can see that some of my, like 93.3 actually has 3 different options of stations that I can listen to through them. So just be aware that that's how this works. So it's kind of cool. You get some additional stations. Smartphone connection. So this is where Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come into play. If I plug my phone into the USB, so right here you'll see the phone, I plug into that one, this will light up. From there, it's going to give me access to some different things. So if I have an Apple phone, I've got access to Apple Maps, which I can use voice command for. I can get to my music, my messages, a plethora of different apps. So just be aware of its super cool function. If you have an Android-based phone, you're going to have access to Google Maps and Waze. From what I understand from a guy who works over at Apple, in September when you get the new iOS update, I believe you're going to have access to Google Maps and Waze via an iPhone too. So just be aware of that in case you're an iPhone user. But just super cool functions as far as music, messages, maps, more. Access to Siri and OK Google as far as voice commands. I can press this, and when I hear the beep for Siri, Siri, text this person, Siri, directions of such and such. It'll pull up on the screen and do everything for me. Trip computer is right here. So if I just want my general trip info that I could get over on that touchscreen, I can get it here also. Power flow, you already saw how that works. Text message function, it'll read text aloud to you. Comes with 90 days of satellite radio. I've got USBs that I can plug into, whether it be charging or plugging in like a thumb drive and having music going. My clock, AM, FM, a compass, just general thing. Honda Link is set up to where I can get maintenance reminders, recall notices, things like that for the car. In the future, you're going to see other things where I can fire up the car from this, along with I can send the location of my car to someone or save the location. So just some different functions here you're going to start seeing pop up. So that's the touch screen. AC controls, hot or cold, how much air, and where I want that air to go. Down here, you'll notice it is buttons on the shifter. So when I throw in reverse, you'll see it light up green. That's how I know it's on. I've got 3 different views. So wide angle view, normal view, one aimed straight down off the back bumper. So you can see the edge of the back bumper right there. Throwing it into neutral, throwing it into drive, it's always going to let you know where you're at. So if I want to throw the parking brake on, it's electronic. How I do so, put my foot on the brake, pull up just like a handbrake would, and you'll see the red light comes on and it tells you brake right there in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. To release it, put my foot on the brake, press down, LED is gone, no longer says brake right there, I'm good to go. Brake hold set up to where if I'm in stop and go traffic and drive, I can come to a complete stop and it'll actually hold the brake while the car's in drive. Now keep in mind, if you don't have your seatbelt on, this function doesn't work. So if I'm in a drive-through, it's going to affect this function if you want to use it. Now, center console set up a lot like my Civics right now. I've got the short wells if I want to put drinks in. I've got a deep well if I've got like a big gulp or a massive water bottle that I keep on me. And then I have the sliding armrest here. Pop that open. I do have a rubber mat down in there. It's actually removable. And you'll find, this is one of those fine Easter eggs of the car, that on the back there's actually some logos. So depending on which car you get there, I think there's 4 different options of different things that they put on them. So just kind of cool. Something, a little bit special they did extra for you. So this is I believe it's a G and blue is what the color blue they're calling it is, and then has the black interior. And then you'll notice an EX, it doesn't have a sunroof where some of my EXs and other models would. But that's a quick rundown of the car. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, 512-443-4300 and ask for Justin. You can always comment on the YouTube video, or you can email me at the letter J, and then Fuller, my last name, Fuller, @audihonda.com. Thank you much.